truth is, there is something terribly wrong with this country, isn't there?
If you clicked on this video, you want to hear my opinion about the movie. Maybe you've seen it or maybe you haven't, but before I begin, let me say this. To me, after the COVID era, V for Vendetta has become somewhat of a personal thing. Its original ideas are drawn by Alan Moore, and its continuation as the movie were proven to be right, in my humble opinion, and manifested themselves in the real world, which frightened and frustrated me to no end. But regardless of what I personally think about real world issue, I still urge you to go and watch this film and make up your own mind if I'm correct or not. But if you choose at this point to click off the video, I completely understand. Just know that this is simply a movie review.
But again, truth be told, if you're looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror.
V for Vendetta plunges you into a post-pandemic world where a far right-wing political party rules Britain with an iron fist, complete with secret police, propaganda wing, and the Ministry of Truth. This stems from a takeover after a deadly virus ravages England for a time and allows the fears of the people to vote in a political party that has a hard line about the subject.
He should conclude that the New Bailey will become the symbol of our time and the future that our conviction has rewarded us.
In this world, we get introduced to Evie Hammond, a girl who works at a TV station. One night, she gets attacked on the street and saved by a man in a Guy Fawkes mask. They struck up a weird conversation as the man brings her to watch his masterpiece of destroying the Old Bailey.
A vendetta, held as a votive not in vain, for the value and veracity of such shall one day vindicate the vigilant and the virtuous.
The next day, while at work, this stranger takes over the local TV broadcast and issues a warning about what the government is doing and gives an ultimatum.
1 year from tonight, outside the gates of Parliament,
We shall give them a 5th of November that shall never, ever be forgotten.
While trying to escape the station, Evie is struck and V takes her to his lair. There, both slowly strike up a love-hate relationship that leads Evie to find out things about the government, about her fellow workers, and all about who this strange man called V. Alongside that storyline, we get to know Eric Finch, the chief detective in the New Scotland Yard, who takes on a task by the High Chancellor to find out who the hell is this V character and bring him to justice. And the more time goes on, Finch discovers that the government he believes in might not be telling him the entire truth.
What if someone else killed all those people? Would you really want to know who it was?
V for Vendetta has a strong performances by everyone involved in it, both leads and supporting cast. V himself is played by Hugo Weaving, and he did such an incredible job acting without having his face revealed throughout the movie. He manages to emote with the mask on, only using head tilts and body gestures to convey his feelings, which is a massive feat.
The building is a symbol, as is the act of destroying it. Symbols are given power by people. Alone, a symbol is meaningless.
It also helped that he has the voice to carry it. Weaving has such great tone to his voice that carries you through a lot of the exposition dumps and captures your imagination while he tells Evie, and later on Eric, his stories of wonder.
Fear became the ultimate tool of this government, and through it, our politician was ultimately appointed to the newly created position of High Chancellor.
As for Natalie Portman, at the time she was criticized, but I think she pulls off a solid British accent. Sometimes it fails, but overall it's pretty good with the performance she had. But as Evie, she's believable as the every woman off the street, believing whatever she is told, even though her background should have prepared her to be an unbeliever. So when the truth slowly uncovers itself, at first she resists and then she surrenders to it. All the while she acts like most of us would. It's not her best performance, but it certainly is one of her bravest ones.
My father was a writer. You would have liked him. He used to say that artists use lies to tell the truth while politicians use them to cover the truth up.
As for the rest of the cast, they are all great. Stephen Fry, Stephen Ray, Tim Pigott-Smith, and Ben Miles, amongst others, that gave a truly great performance in their respective roles. But I will mention John Hurt as a casting brilliance. The man played the lead role in a movie called 1984, adapting the famous George Orwell book 1984, which, politically speaking, talks about the same environment as V for Vendetta. But in 1984, Hurt plays essentially the Evie character or the Evie role. And in V for Vendetta, he plays the big brother from 1984. It's a casting brilliance.
I want everyone to remember why they need us.
It's easy to say that V for Vendetta is a politically charged movie from a very political charged creator, Alan Moore. If you don't know who he is, that's perfectly fine. He is a comic book writer. Most notably, he wrote Watchmen, Batman the Killing Joke, and many more projects. And he is considered to be one of the greatest writers in the business. But he's also known to be a prickly fellow, and he doesn't really like any movie adaptation to his work. Politically, he is situated in what we can call the radical left or the far left. So when it comes to writing an authoritarian regime, Stetler's political party is the right wing and supposedly very Christian. I'm saying supposedly because as the movie moves forward and things get revealed, we can see the hypocrisy of any totalitarian government, regardless of it being Christian or any other religion. So here comes my particular opinion. I despise politics of any kind, and I hate extremism of any kind, because most of these dictators around the world and throughout history, of course, have started on one side or the other and ended up restricting liberty in order to keep people in line and in check. It really doesn't matter if it's outright fascism or full-on communism, they both are practically the same.
The truth is, after so many years, you begin to lose more than just your appetite. You wear a mask for so long, you forget who you were beneath it.
The mechanism of controlling population might be varied in colors and sounds, but essentially they are the same. And the rise to power always has that triggering event. And this is something you can see when you open up your history books. In V for Vendetta, the triggering event is this St. Mary's virus, and it caused the state of events that puts you at the start of the movie following Evie. The Chancellor is a far-right fanatic, but he could have easily been a far-left fanatic. It's all about authoritarianism.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
V for Vendetta's message is one of liberty versus oppression, real oppression. It is about enlightenment versus ignorance. And it is also a warning and a story about how people can easily be manipulated because of their proclivity to fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of death, and fear of war. And how the mechanism of the mass media is able to spread this fear and keep the lie going in order to keep that fear alive for as long as possible in order to rob the mass population of its basic liberty.
Fear got the best of you, and in your panic you turned to the now High Chancellor Adam Sutler.
So I will highly recommend you watch this film and try and keep an open mind, because the subtext of this movie speaks to us all. It is a brilliant film with a message of hope, one of my favorite things in the world.
Imagine a virus, the most terrifying virus you can, and then imagine that you and you alone have the cure.
I thank you for watching, and remember, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. I'll see you on the next video.